Is that suspects always tend to go where they know the best because they think their best chance to get away is to go to their home territory. We're not saying these guys are from the downtown Los Angeles area because we simply don't know. But as a rule, a lot of these car chase suspects tend to go where they know because they're familiar with it and they believe that's their best chance of escape, but they never do get away.
Look at folks, some of them waving at the car as it goes along the streets. And who knows how much money, what those bills are that they're throwing out of the window. I was going to ask you earlier whether this was you mentioned attempted robbery, whether it was a successful one. It appears the answer is yes. We'll talk more about it in just a minute. Got to get a quick break in. Don't go away.
He is in a residential area here. It looks like he is in, near a park, moving away over towards Vermont Avenue, where we saw him earlier approaching an elementary school. So that is about in another block or so, but he opts to turn northbound here. Again, in this residential area here, he seems to be traveling in circles, bigger circles in this area here, just one block to the west of Vermont, north of 50th here. Oh boy, okay. As he comes up to this major intersection here in about half a block, there is going to be a lot of traffic here, a lot of traffic. It's an east-west street. We'll try and get that for you here, but just a lot of traffic is in the area here. And he just kind of makes his way through, and he is now northbound. Again, just one block to the west of Vermont Avenue here, traveling northbound. Fairly narrow streets here, lots of vehicles, lots of vehicular traffic, pedestrians as well. And we're going to be coming up to what looks like a high school here in about half a block.
I want to ask you to keep the picture up as we bring in L.A. County Sheriff's Captain Mike Parker. Captain Parker, we've been watching this dangerous pursuit that your folks have been involved in since this bank robbery in Santa Clarita. Tell us what you can about what we're looking at here.
Yeah, this is Captain Mike Parker, LA County Sheriff. At 10:08 this morning, a bank robbery occurred on Soledad Canyon in Santa Clarita. The suspects are armed. There's at least four, more likely more additional suspects than that robbed the bank. Deputies found the vehicle short time thereafter and went in pursuit. Two of the suspects got out and ran on Yarnell in Sylmar. A third suspect got out and ran on Hubbard in Sylmar. That caused foot pursuits and chases from sheriff's deputies. I haven't heard yet whether those suspects are in custody or not. After that, deputies continued to pursue this car. There's one or two suspects in this car, most likely two.
Yeah, Captain, we have actually...
Since then, I was on the freeway, LAPD on the city streets. They're in LA City now, or in and out of LA City at this point. They are armed, very dangerous. When you look at the driving that they're participating in, they've nearly hit quite a few pedestrians as well as blown through a lot of traffic signals. Oh, right. Here we go. I'd add to that they have at least 10 times that I've counted by watching your television stations throwing cash out the windows. And just adding to the danger of this is people running out into the street or getting very close to where this car is to try to get the cash and coming within feet of being hit by these suspects.
You know, I can tell you that, you were talking about whether or not there's one suspect or two here. We have seen that there is indeed a second suspect in the back seat who has thrown that money out. We've eyeballed that ourselves. This idea of throwing the money out and we see the folks running out into the street to get it, clearly it seems to us an attempt to try to get pedestrians involved in possibly blocking law enforcement as you're trying to pursue these folks. I wanted to ask, with 10 or 12 law enforcement vehicles, now we're up on the sidewalk here, and have any of the pedestrians been injured at this point?
I don't have any reports of pedestrians injured to me. I don't know for the fire hydrant. He's within a few feet of hitting pedestrians. But I can tell you this, is if his plan is to throw cash out the window to block us by having pedestrians, we're not going to run. He may run out of money, but we're not going to run out of sheriff's deputies, and we're not going to run out of helicopters.
Right, and it is sickening to see with putting all of these people in danger, and the fact that people are running out into the street for the money that they're throwing from a bank robbery. This has to put pressure on your lead vehicles there as they pursue these folks. Is this something that you can train for?
You know, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on these sheriff's deputies. I've driven in pursuits. I've been a lead in a pursuit before. This is a lot of pressure on these deputies because their goal is that nobody gets hurt and that these suspects get taken into custody. Because if these guys get away and they're willing to do this kind of reckless criminal behavior, robbing banks at gunpoint, throwing cash out a window, driving in a reckless manner and almost killing people, clearly they need to be taken off the streets in the interest of public safety. But these deputies are under a lot of pressure because I'm counting 50 people on a television screen right now that are all within feet of this pursuit that I don't think are thinking this through clearly, because these people driving the car, they're not deputy sheriffs. They're not going to be careful as they drive by. They're just doing whatever they feel like they have to do to get away.
Right.
And so you saw that car just now on the side of the street. You see some of these sheriff's deputies and police officers are blocking traffic so that the car can get through, so that people coming opposite directions don't get hit or collide with this car.
Well, we have
he's
Captain,
clearly not obeying the traffic signals.
Captain, I don't know if you can see, but right now it appears as if they've trapped the vehicle, and your deputies are out into the vehicle, pulling one of the suspects immediately out of the back seat. We don't know what the suspect driver is doing, but your deputies are moving in right now to bring these.
There's a little bit of a time delay, but I do see what the deputies are doing. They've obviously run up on the car. You have multiple deputies at gunpoint. You see a woman running around with a little dog. I'm glad she picked up the dog and got out of there. And I'm watching, as you are, as one suspect is being taken out of the front seat and a second suspect is being taken out of the back seat. Deputies are, this is a lot of pressure on these deputies because you've also got hundreds of people surrounding them. That's a lot to be distracted by as you're trying to do your job.
Absolutely, because you not only have the immediate concern of what's happening there with the suspects, you have a perimeter that is moving in on the sheriff's deputies who are trying their best to both make the arrest and protect the public, a public that is surging forward. If you can see our picture, Captain, you see this public surrounding these sheriff's deputies.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things we deal with in crowd management is that, you know, is this crowd going to be cooperative? Is this crowd going to try to get more of that cash? We don't know. So this is another reason why you saw so many patrol cars involved in the pursuit, is that we had multiple suspects bail out. We had suspects throwing cash out the window, at least 10 different locations. So all this, you see deputy sheriffs and police officers trying to get the crowd to move back. Unfortunately, what happens in a lot of these situations, it kind of takes on a circus-like atmosphere, and people come out and look at it as a big show. But it's not a show to us because you have innocent people's lives in danger, sheriff's deputies' lives in danger, and then apparently thought nothing of endangered people. I see a cameraman down there getting rushed by a large number of people, so the deputies are going to pull that guy out of there if he needs help.
Yeah, it appears as if he's been pulled out of, as you mentioned, there's a slight lag in what you're seeing and what we're showing. I have seen that news photographer pulled away from the crowd, and you have to wonder if as you said, Captain, folks are thinking straight, because these are armed bank robbers. These are folks who stole money at gunpoint, according to witnesses there, and the law enforcement who were on the scene immediately after. And to participate in some sort of a festive atmosphere upon their arrest. It makes you wonder. But the good news here,
That's
if
Los
we can
Angeles.
report it in that way, is that this pursuit has ended here. And I want, Captain, if you could just hold on for 1 second. Mark Kono's in Sky 5 HD. He's been tracking it for us from the beginning. Mark, where precisely did this pursuit end? And help us in describing the scene that we're looking at.
Frank, this is nothing short of what looks like a mob scene here. What we're looking at here is South LA. This is the intersection of Kansas and Vernon. Now, the major street that you're seeing there, all the vehicles are lined up on Vernon. Right on Kansas, it's 1 block to the west of Vermont. Now, we were talking just a few minutes ago about how this guy was making circles in a fairly tight area here, an area that it looked like he might have been familiar with. I still believe that to be the case here. He was just kind of circling the area here, and as he kept circling these few square blocks here, more and more people started to come out, and that's why you see so many people here. I mean, this is literally a mob scene here where Vernon, just east-west, going top to bottom on your screen there, is literally jammed in both directions. Kansas also jammed right at the intersection there. We're talking about a crowd of at least 100, possibly more people who have come out onto the streets, who have likely been watching this pass in front of their homes for the better part of, well, about half an hour at this point. So this particular neighborhood in South LA, it appears that this guy was making circles, say northbound on Kansas, over to Vernon, down Vermont, and maybe for a couple of blocks down to the south. But this particular stretch of
Now, you guys watching,
South LA seems to be where
just imagine what's going to happen in Los Angeles and big cities like that when the shit hits the fan. You take a good look here. These are people that are everyday, normal people for Los Angeles at the end of a police pursuit. And look at this. Believe me, I've seen this a million times. You are going to be eaten alive if you are not prepared when the shit hits the fan in this country. It's going to start just like this. Something simple, some arrest or something, and it's going to get out of control, and it's going to spread from city to city to state, and you're going to see it happen, and this is what you're going to see. And let me tell you something, the police are not the only ones with guns in that crowd, believe me. One person gets shot by a police officer, and that's it. California will erupt, and then states will fall like dominoes. So you better have your shit together.
Described by Mark Kono. He says this is right at Vernon and Kansas Avenue.
Sorry about the shakiness. I'm filming this with my iPad.
South of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
And my shoulder is screwed up. It's hard to hold it.
LAPD, and is this the kind of situation in which you will call in LAPD to assist, despite the fact this is your pursuit?
Right. Los Angeles Police Department's been working on this with us the whole time. They're well aware of it, and Sheriff and LAPD are working together. It is City of Los Angeles LAPD policing area where the suspects are taken into custody. But police officers and sheriff's deputies and highway patrol officers have law enforcement authority everywhere in the state of California. It's just a matter of who's primary and who's secondary on any given situation. So we're all working together now to restore order in the area.
Yeah, here we go.
2 suspects that were taken into custody will be
now LAPD's there.
They're obviously facing
that's my old team.
as well as many other charges. But now sheriff's deputies and police officers are working.
All it takes is one violent arrest,
to establish
one altercation, and that fucking place will erupt like a hornet's nest.
The suspect vehicle is of itself a crime scene, so we need to get that vehicle towed away because we're going to want to fingerprint it and get all kinds of evidence out of it. But I do want to mention something in particular that's very important, is that we do still have 2 active containments for suspects that bailed out of this car early in the pursuit. That's on Yarnell, where at least 1, possibly 2 suspects got out, and Hubbard, another suspect, and that's in the Sylmar area. I don't have a cross street right now, but that is, I just got the cross street. Yarnell Street and Carroll Lane in Sylmar, and Hubbard and Excelsior in Sylmar. And in both of those locations, we have suspects that are part of this bank robbery who got out of the pursuit early on in the pursuit and ran. Containment means that we've surrounded the area with patrol cars, in to look for those suspects, and obviously our goal is to get everybody in custody.
We're watching pictures now, Captain, of LAPD officers moving in.
Like
as
a
you
riot
said, in
starting over a
skirmish
goddamn
line,
pursuit.
sort of
Standard
fashion
procedure.
to protect, it appears to me, the officers who are beginning the process now of investigating. I don't know if they've actually transported the suspects out of the scene yet. You can see how many vehicles are involved there, but that right there in the middle of the screen is your suspect vehicle. As you said, it has to be processed for fingerprints and any other sort of physical evidence that might exist inside that vehicle. Another question that I have for you, as we look at this scene, many of the people were drawn out into the streets because the suspects were throwing money out of the window. What happens in terms of the recovery of that money?
You know, all of that money does not belong to the people that have it. Technically, it's actually a crime to knowingly possess money that belongs to someone else. So rather than emphasize that, I'd rather emphasize the fact that the right thing to do, if you were one of those people that gathered up that money, is to call your local law enforcement, in particular Santa Clarita Sheriff Station.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure the
Captain,
phone's going to ring off the
right
hook.
Thing to do, turn the money back in. You are in violation of the law if you are possessing it. Elizabeth Espinoza, I'm told, is on the scene right now near this situation. We're going to have her join us momentarily. Captain Parker, as you look at this now, as someone of rank and who has been through pursuits and has a great deal of experience, when you look at a scene like this, what happens next? As you said, you want to return the scene, the neighborhood, to some sense of normalcy, but how do you do that?
That is normal in LA.
Captain Parker, you still with us? Okay, from LA County Sheriff's Deputy, LA County Sheriff's Department has been doing a great job of keeping us informed of what's happening. Mark Kono's still with us at Sky 5 HD. Mark, do you have the sense that it's de-escalating a bit, or is it still a very active scene down there?
From what I can tell, Frank, still a very active scene. The LAPD doing its part to conduct some crowd control, maybe move people along away from the scene here. But if you look along Vernon, just between Kansas and Vermont Avenue here, it is just a mess in terms of traffic here. Now, Vermont Avenue is going to be shut down right as you approach Vernon from both directions here. Vernon, east and west, is going to be shut down between Vermont and Kansas. And so there are a lot of cars here blocking the roadways there, and they are just trying to get through. Lots of people out in the streets.
You see, this is how it works. You look at the people filtering in. It's just the crowd psychology of it all. I'm not a psychiatrist, but you know, these guys see this shit on the news. It's in their neighborhood. They run down there. The people that don't see it hear all the commotion, hear all the sirens. Just opportunists, just looking for a reason to go out there and cause a fucking problem. Because that's what they do. It's fun. It's exciting. It's something different than your standard day of unemployment and bullshit. Why not go down there and participate in the local riot that's starting? And here comes the skirmish line moving forward to move these people back. And now we'll see what happens here. I've got the sound turned down on the news because sometimes the news commentary just drives me nuts. So they're trying to protect the crime scene, which that's what's going on, is that where that vehicle is, where it stopped, that is a crime scene. And of course, with Los Angeles being Los Angeles, the longer that the police are there, the more brazen these troublemakers are going to get. You'll see guys will be throwing shit over, into the crowd of police officers, anything to get shit started. Somebody will fire a gun up in the air, or worse into the crowd. You'll see. I mean, this is generally how it works. What they should do is take their pictures and then tow that vehicle out of there and just everybody leave the area. And God help any news crews that are left in the area. So we've seen them attacked before.
Yeah, well, most of the crowd has basically dissipated and has gone. We're tilting down to show you the intersection of Vernon and Vermont, where that intersection also is starting to look a lot better here, and a lot of a lot of support for the folks who are working traffic control down on the ground here for quite a while. There are 2 blocks in any direction. It was complete gridlock, and they have basically rerouted all of the cars. All those cars that were stuck in the gridlock here have been moved off and rerouted to alternate streets here, and so basically the presence here is basically the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department, and even as I say that, a lot of those folks are, it looks like, are being released at this point. So this situation definitely de-escalating around the perimeter of the termination, but still it remains a very active scene, especially along Vernon and a little bit along Vermont Avenue here, Frank.
Yeah, and you do have to give credit to law enforcement there. It could have gone south, and we have not seen any arrests. We have seen what appeared, at least from our vantage point, to be, while there may have been words exchanged, a peaceful end to a crowd control situation that could have gone south quickly. I want to read you, as we've talked about this situation with money being thrown out and people running out into the street, and you wonder why people are doing that. This is an email that has come into KTLA, and I'm told representative of some of the comments that we've been receiving. This person calling herself Ms. Williams, she says, this is a comment about the bank robbery that came to an end in South LA. I think it was wrong to rob a bank, but if you see what's going on, they gave back to the community. That's why they kept driving in the area. This is what happens when there's no jobs. People lose their mind from stress and start taking what they need. We can't say that that's representative of how people feel, but that's at least representative of the kinds of comments we've been receiving in the email coming into KTLA. The scene on your right, a tape from earlier as the pursuit came to an end. You can see an LA County Sheriff's deputy running up to the vehicle, then joined by 2 others, and LAPD moving to push passersby to the side as they moved in to grab the suspects who were involved in this bank robbery, and immediately putting those suspects in custody. Mark, we've talked about the suspects on a number of occasions at this scene. Do we know if they've been transported? Is it just impossible to tell at this point with so many? Mark, thanks for that. Our own Elizabeth Espinoza has been doing the hard work of trying to wade through that crowd, has had to walk a significant distance to try to get to the scene. Elizabeth, I think you're with us right now. Can you tell us where you are and give us a sense of the mood in that crowd? Was it one of confrontation
it's all
with
pro-police.
The law enforcement? Because we saw the law enforcement have to come in with that skirmish line.
Unfortunately, it did become very chaotic. A little reminiscent, of course, of the riots, because there was just so much chaos, and yet some people running in different directions, and you also have, you can hear still some people yelling. But you also had, commuters, people driving that started taking the opposite side of the road to try to get to the cash or whatever their intention was. Presumably that's what it was. But I want to share with you that
You made a presumption. What a racist.
Major clients of the LA County Sheriff's Department is going to be taking over this investigation. I've been told that 2 African-American males have been taken into custody. I don't know if you've already reported that, but we are standing right in front of that Volvo, black Volvo SUV off of Kansas Avenue and Vernon, and you still have a skirmish line on the south side of Vernon off of Kansas, and they're trying to push people to go back, you know, to resume their daily activity, whatever it was they were doing before.
That is the daily activity.
We still have a number of folks who still
It's Los Angeles.
Tension very, very high because, you know, police trying to do their job, but of course some folks here trying to, you know, be in the middle of it, find out what's going on. They want to see every bit of it. But law enforcement needs their space. They also need to maintain safety lines here and distance so that everything can be done appropriately. Again, this is a major investigation. I mean, again, these suspects are accused of a bank robbery of a Bank of America in Santa Clarita. As you know, whenever that involves a bank, that also involves the FBI. So the FBI will certainly be involved in this investigation eventually as well. But let's talk to some of the neighbors here. Sir, I know that you were just standing next to me when you were having a little bit of a confrontation, if you will, with, I think it was LAPD, is that right? What is your sense right now? I mean, obviously, you guys want to come out. You live here? Do you live nearby?
I live in the area.
So for you, I mean, honestly, we don't see this a lot, even though we do see a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of crime in the city.
This way.
But this is certainly unique. I mean, even for me as a journalist.
This is cool. I give them salute on that. You know, they didn't hide it for themselves. They actually threw money back to the community. You know, that was cool. You know,
Talking about the suspected bank robbery.
right, the bank robbers.
That's a controversial statement there, sir.
They gave money back that people really need to have, but
I understand that part.
wrong. But you know, they did throw some out there. But I'm unfortunate. I'm not one to get any. But you know, they did throw some money out there. So
Fair, you are entitled to your own opinion. You know,
Here you go.
maybe a little controversial.
That's the mentality.
What about in terms of the intensity here? I mean, I was.
Motherfucker was Robin Hood.
For some of the families, I mean, I saw moms with their little girls, little boys.
Robin in the
walking
hood.
down the street, and then you saw people running, and it looked like they were, you know, running to see what was going on, and running for the cash. What's the message? What's the lesson learned here? I mean, somebody could have gotten killed.
I got killed. I suggest, you know, mothers with kids, you know, don't come running out of here with your babies, you know, trying to get the money. You know, I mean, there's enough of people out here. I mean, family members out here as well. So when you're talking about money, money is the root of everything. So they're going to be out here like this. So, I mean, yeah, that's wrong to have your kids out here. But when money thrown in the air, you know, when you ain't got money, you're going to do it.
Well, thank you so much for your time, sir. Let me see if we can talk to
I wish they should talk to that guy all day.
It is certainly
Beautiful.
Elizabeth. All right. Well, Elizabeth apparently can't hear us, but she just interviewed one of the people on the ground there who was telling her, and if I heard correctly, he said that when the money was being thrown out by these alleged bank robbers, if I heard him correctly, he said that was cool. And
yeah, you heard him right.
Clearly, we're going after the money. He said that when you don't have money and it's there, you're going to run after it. And that's what. And you're looking at video of from earlier as this pursuit was underway. You can see they were running. People were running after the money, running right in between the suspect vehicle in some cases and pursuing law enforcement. A very dangerous situation as they were running after that money. L.A. County Sheriff's Captain Mike Parker reminding us that it is actually against the law to be in possession of that money that one may know is stolen. This was the conclusion of the actual pursuit. L.A. County Sheriff's deputies immediately moving in, not wasting any time, and pulling those suspects from that suspect vehicle, the black Volvo. They pulled them out immediately. As far as we know, there was no gunfire, no violence. It ended peacefully in a way that law enforcement wanted it to end, as far as no gunfire. A stark contrast to what we saw at the end of a pursuit last night in Los Angeles that ended in a great deal of gunfire. Fortunately, no innocent bystanders, no law enforcement hurt in that. The suspect in that vehicle, however, was wounded. He is expected to survive those wounds. This one ending with no gunfire, but as you can see, L.A. County Sheriff's deputies and LAPD moving in to take control of this intersection. And again, that intersection, Vernon Avenue near Kansas Avenue, just to the west of Vermont Avenue in South Los Angeles. It does appear as if this, what was a very tense situation down in that particular neighborhood, has de-escalated quite a bit.
Actually threw money back to the community. You know, that was cool. You know,
Talking about the suspected bank robbery.
the bank robbers.